Happy Halloween! Please look at this lovely picture from Bodhi and Crest family for Halloween greeting. Today, our Dharma sister Rebecca is going to share her insight about life's little disappointments. We will first meditate together, starting with the Qi Gong. Please stand up to join Reverend Kim.
With gratitude, I bow to the grace of heaven and earth, honoring the infinite source of marvelous existence. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of parents, ancestors, and everyone who has given me life and nurtured me. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of fellow beings, embracing the truth of interconnectedness. With gratitude, I bow to the grace of laws, which guide us to develop justice and freedom through Dharma and universal principles. Meditation is simple and easy. Anyone can practice it. Please take time to find your most comfortable position on the floor or in a chair. Now wiggle to release any tension in your body. Rock front to back or side to side, like the pendulum of a grandfather clock, until you find the point of perfect balance. Breathe in, grab all your tension. Breathe out. Release any mental or physical uneasiness. Relax your whole body. It is okay to slouch a little bit if that feels more natural. Just remember to let your mind's eye focus on belly breathing. Breathe and listen to your body. If your body agrees, gradually sit up tall. Gently straighten your spine without losing focus on the energy in your lower abdomen. You may start to feel your lower back growing stronger and your chest and heart opening. Now open your eyes softly and look straight ahead with a level gaze. Without moving your head or eyes, let your eyelids relax and drift downward to their most comfortable place. While keeping your ears softly aligned with your shoulders, tuck your chin in slightly and let your shoulders melt away from your ears. Enjoy the sensation of your arms and hands relaxing. Now bring your awareness to your tongue. Place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth. While your tongue is relaxed on your palate, pure and clear saliva may gather in your mouth. This is a delightful sign of cool energy ascending. Smile at your calm and clear spirit. Invite your awareness to return to your lower abdomen, your Qi energy field. This is called the Danjan and is located about 2 inches below your navel. Your Danjan is the power center for your breathing. Scan your entire body to see if there is any tension, especially in your face and head, neck, and shoulders. If your face or body begins to itch, simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change position very slowly and quietly. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be disturbed by them. Do not react to your thoughts or pursue them. Recognize that they are just thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. Continue to bring your awareness back to your Danjan abiding breath. When your mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused and at peace, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation. You will no longer feel any distinction between yourself and others, finding yourself free from the limits of time and place. We are grateful to sit quietly together, finding the still point within. May we be here now, deeply aware of our ever calm, ever alert spirit. Yongju prayer chant. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth settles in my being. My spirit penetrates all things as my mind wills. Heaven, earth, and I become one. I am one with the way of heaven and earth. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth settles in my being. My spirit penetrates all things as my mind wills. Heaven, earth, and I become one. I am one with the way of heaven and earth. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth settles in my being. My spirit penetrates all things as my mind wills. Heaven, earth, and I become one. I am one with the way of heaven and earth. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth settles in my being. My spirit penetrates all things as my mind wills. Heaven, earth, and I become one. I am one with the way of heaven and earth. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth settles in my being. My spirit penetrates all things as my mind wills. Heaven, earth, and I become one. I am one with the way of heaven and earth. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth settles in my being. My spirit penetrates all things as my mind wills. Heaven, earth, and I become one. I am one with the way of heaven and earth. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth settles in my being. My spirit penetrates all things as my mind wills. Heaven, earth, and I become one. I am one with the way of heaven and earth. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth settles in my being. My spirit penetrates all things as my mind wills. Heaven, earth, and I become one. I am one with the way of heaven and earth. Prayer for world peace. Grace of heaven and earth. Grace of parents. Grace of fellow beings. Grace of laws. O Dharmakaya Buddha, fourfold grace. May we take refuge in Dharma and be filled with compassion and wisdom. May we transform delusion into wisdom, greed into generosity, resentment into gratitude, discord into harmony, and hatred into compassion. May all nations grow and benefit mutually. May the strong help the weak, and may the weak learn and evolve according to Dharma. May all those who have died from world conflicts and disasters be delivered through all obstacles and be at rest. May there be peace throughout the world, and may all beings enjoy tranquility and happiness, living in their original true nature. This we pray with our whole hearts.
Sincerely and truly, where my hands touch the world, where my feet walk on the earth, where my voice echoes through the hills, and in all realms where my heart and mind reach, that we all together, share a true affinity for attaining great enlightenment and for helping all living beings.
Essential Dharmas of Daily Practice. The mind is originally free from disturbance, but disturbances arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances. The mind is originally free from delusion, but delusions arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the wisdom of our true nature by letting go of delusions. The mind is originally free from wrongdoing, but wrongdoings arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the precepts of our true nature by letting go of wrongdoings. Let us replace disbelief, greed, laziness, and ignorance with belief, zeal, questioning, and dedication. Let us turn resentment into gratitude. Let us turn dependency into self-reliance. Let us turn reluctance to learn into willingness to learn well. Let us turn reluctance to teach into willingness to teach well. Let us turn lack of public spirit into eagerness to serve the good of all.
Essential Dharmas of daily practice.
The mind is originally free from disturbance, but disturbances arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances. The mind is originally free from delusion, but delusions arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the wisdom of our true nature by letting go of delusions. The mind is originally free from wrongdoing, but wrongdoings arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the precepts of our true nature by letting go of wrongdoings. Let us replace disbelief, greed, laziness, and ignorance with belief, zeal, questioning, and dedication. Let us turn resentment into gratitude. Let us turn dependency into self-reliance. Let us turn reluctance to learn into willingness to learn well. Let us turn reluctance to teach into willingness to teach well. Let us turn lack of public spirit into eagerness to serve the Lord of all.
This morning, our longtime temple practitioner and Dharma sister, Rebecca Kameny, Wan He, will share her contemplations on the very human experience of disappointment and how to navigate it with wisdom and reflection. Let us practice deep listening, and when Rebecca concludes her talk, feel free to post your comments and reflections in the live chat. Please now welcome Rebecca, Wan He.
Good morning. Today, I'd like to talk about life's little disappointments, how they arise, and how we respond to them. Imagine this. You're a child, maybe 3 years old, and your dad has just bought you your first balloon in your favorite color, yellow. As you walk back to the car, your dad turns around to say, "Make sure you hold on to it." But at that moment, your fingers loosen. It's gone. Imagine this. You're about 11 years old, zooming around the playground at school with your best friend. She seems a little distracted. She keeps looking over at some other kid, but you're having fun, so you don't think any more about it. It's hot, so you both go get a drink at the water fountain. Suddenly, she faces you and flicks water right in your face, turns her back to you, and runs over to play with the other kid, leaving you alone at the fountain. Imagine this. You're an adult planning a large family gathering, fancy food, great outdoor setting with a tent. It's going to be amazing. Even your cousin, who is always critical, is going to be impressed. At the gathering, everything goes smoothly. People are enjoying themselves. You walk up to your cousin, expecting a quiet compliment, or maybe even a public accolade. But she says, "Wow, it's so hot out here. I wonder if you thought about having the party inside." These are our little sufferings that happen to us every day. Because we are in this world, because we are human. Disappointment is not going to go away, so let's take some time to explore it. When does it occur? How do we respond? And what can we do to, if not prevent it, perhaps alleviate or manage it when it arises? Disappointment happens when we're anticipating a specific event, and when that expectation is not met, we feel a sense of loss, of having been denied something that we want or think we deserve. This can be accompanied by sadness or anger or some other negative feeling. There's an element of surprise in there as well, because the outcome was unanticipated. It's in contrast to the feeling of equanimity. So, the core components for feeling disappointed are anticipation and attachment to a specific outcome. There's some optional ingredients as well. Ingredients that can strengthen disappointment, give it a nice boost. We can call this adding layers. Here are some examples. The "I'm right and the other person is wrong" layer. That was my parking space. I saw it first. If-then scenarios. If I wear the right clothes, the other girls on the playground will like me. If I get this job, I'm all set. Assigning blame, pointing fingers. She's the worst professor I've ever had. She can't teach. That's why I didn't do well on the final. All this mental layering on top of what has already occurred just increases our suffering. But we tend to do it anyway. Why? I don't really know. So what can we do to alleviate some of the suffering that comes from these everyday frustrations? There are things we can do in the moment, and there are things we can do after the fact that could help us prepare for when it happens again, because you know it will. So in the moment, when we're caught off guard, what can we do? State the facts to yourself. A friend told me that when he starts to get irritated or angry, he tries to take a step back and say to himself, "This happened. This thing happened." Just state the reality without the embellishments. It's a good technique for pausing in the moment. Something happened, yes, less than ideal, maybe the opposite of what I wanted to happen, but do I need to add to that? So that tiny pause can help us resist the impulse to add layers onto it. Then there's something I call the echo. Sometimes you get the gift of the echo of your own voice in your head right after you say something. Somebody has criticized you or challenges you, and you hear yourself responding in an angry or sarcastic tone. Did I just say that? This modicum of awareness provides us with a small space where we can pause before we do or say anything else, even if it looks weird to other people. It can just take a couple of seconds to regroup or redirect our mind. So if you ever get this gift of the echo, make use of it. It's trying to tell you something. So in the moment, the best we may be able to do is pause. That pause allows us to shift our mindset just a bit. Permit a little openness there to tell a different story about what just happened. Now, what can we do after the event has occurred, when we have the time and inclination to do a bit of work on ourselves? Self-assessment. This kind of assessment involves a little more intense mind work. Won Buddhist scripture tells us to be intentional with this kind of exploration. Here, we investigate how mindfully we handled any event. Was I heedful in making choices in my behaviors and speech? The founding master advises us, you must assess and check your mind over and over to see whether or not your mind ground is disturbed, deluded, or subject to wrongdoing, whether or not you have been making active progress in belief, zeal, questioning, and dedication, whether or not you have been living in gratitude, living a life of self-power, readily learning, readily teaching, and benefiting others. Okay. Now think back to an event that really made you feel discouraged or angry and walk through it step by step. When did you begin to feel that first tingling of disappointment? What was happening and what was going on in your mind? It may have something to do with intention. Here's an example. Let's say you were taking a nice morning walk in your neighborhood, as you always do. As cars passed by, you were smiling and waving to each one, as you always do. A familiar white truck passed by, and you smiled and waved, but the person didn't wave back. In fact, you realized this person never waves back. Maybe you decided then and there never to bother waving to him again. He's such a grump. But wait, let's do some exploring. If we feel disappointed, that means we have a strong attachment to a specific outcome. The degree to which we feel anger, unhappiness, self-righteousness when something doesn't go our way is proportional to the degree to which we are invested in that particular outcome. Backing up from that, we can ask ourselves, what exactly was my intention when I wave and smile? Maybe the original intention was to see the Buddha in everyone. Or maybe, if it wasn't quite that lofty, it was just start my day out with a smile. But somehow that intention morphed into the anticipation of getting something back from people, getting some kind of acknowledgement from them. So here, we could vow to return to that original intention and drop the expectation of a wave back. Self-assessment can be difficult work. One thing that can make it easier is taking advantage of the very human tendency to notice other people's faults and quirks. Laura's talk on judging others a few weeks ago reminded me of this. While it's hardest to detect how we ourselves contribute to our own suffering, it's often quite easy to see it in others, isn't it? So, okay, next time our mind jumps to make that judgment about how someone is making it worse for themselves, let's turn our gaze inward and ask ourselves, How do I contribute to my own suffering? What tendencies of behavior or thinking, what characteristics do I have that make it more likely that I will feel and respond to a disappointing situation in a certain way? Going back to what I touched on earlier, perhaps your go-to response is finger pointing. If you point your finger outwards towards another person, towards the universe, or as someone I know well does, blames certain technology companies, I say, grab that finger firmly and turn it backwards to yourself and ask what you did to contribute to this outcome. And what can you do differently next time? You can't control how others behave or how technology works or doesn't, but do take a suitable measure of responsibility for the outcome. Some people make bargains with the universe. If this flight is on time, I can relax. If my daughter would just take that job, I can finally be happy. Be careful of these if-then approaches to life. Let the mind open up and not get stuck on if-onlys. Other people tend to micromanage their experiences. Is this your go-to? Do you micromanage your friends and family? Not a good idea. When we do this, it's a recipe for many, many disappointments. Won Buddhism teaches us the threefold practice. We've touched on all three in this talk. When we learn to pause, to calm our minds, and resist an impulse to react negatively, we're practicing cultivation of spirit. When we try to figure out when and why we behave in certain ways and think about how our negative responses may affect others, this is inquiry into human affairs. Inquiry into universal principles involves contemplating the principle of cause and effect. We reach at least some understanding or acceptance of our role in the creation of that feeling of disappointment, and an understanding that attachments can lead to suffering. And finally, mindful choice in action. This can be quite powerful. This is where all our mind work gets expressed in the outside world, in our speech and in our reactions, and where others can be a witness to it. Life is full of little disappointments. Life is full of joyful surprises. Uncertainty exists in every moment. What we are aiming for here is not to abolish all of those little irritations that come our way during the day, but to gain a level of contentment, of equanimity in the face of them. To not permit ourselves to be dragged around by our emotions. Do we want to be the kind of person that everyone has to tiptoe around? To emotionally cater to because we react by sulking or lashing out when things go awry? Do we want to add more layers onto our own sufferings? Equanimity comes from within. It is not dependent on the behavior of others or on external circumstances. When we take life's little disappointments with composure to the best of our ability, then we can not only reduce some of our own little daily sufferings, but we can be a model for others, perhaps adding a bit more equanimity into the world at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, for showing us so clearly how our habitual minds can interfere and block our equanimity, and how the threefold practice can really help us learn to disentangle all the disappointments that we might experience in life. Thank you, dear friend, for your focused listening. Please now, if you'd like, put your own thoughts and reflections in the live chat. And you're also welcome to join us for a few moments of silent reflection. Thank you so much for being with us today. Please join us next week. We look forward to seeing you then. And now, be with us and at home as well. Join us as we spend a few minutes transitioning to cleaning up meditation.